Hey, I mean they're good friends. We're all friends here, so
On the topic of communication, as you said, Team City Escape, QD, and Trojan are going to be in the same room with each other. That will certainly help. I think, Voligen, you're on a double team yourself, so you'll certainly attest to this. Communication is probably the hardest part of playing doubles, on top of just the difficulties of playing randomizer in general.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's very difficult to make sure that you communicate all the information that your partner needs to know without overloading them. As we get started here, we've got the first pickup is a keystone. These are the kind of parts here where it's just like, okay, I don't need it. Yeah, I'm seeing what you're saying on the top. Yeah, they'll find out what they got eventually.
I was going to say, they might have memed themselves into like, oh crap, did I get dash or something?
Fortunately, with keystones, at least it shows up immediately in the top right. But yeah, like at this point in the game, when you're both players are doing the same thing, Grim, you don't really need to worry too much about communication, because obviously you don't need to tell your partner we just got a keystone. But yeah, as they start splitting up in the later game, it's going to become more and more important to communicate all those details, but not too many, as to kind of prevent your partner from keeping track.
It is a science, and I think every team comes up with their own way of communication. And in my mind, there's sort of two challenges in one. Challenge number one is communication. So you say, oh, this is this pickup. You give a certain item a particular name rather than saying, oh, it's the ability cell. Oh, no, not that one. It's the one off to the left, but kind of up a little bit. That's not very efficient. All right, that's challenge number one. Challenge number two is also just remembering 10 minutes later, oh, crap, I guess we do need one more water vein shard.
Yeah, the really tough one, it turns out to be stuff like keystones and mapstones. Like, you can easily communicate with your partner, here's where all the water vein shards, here's where all the Gumon seal shards even. But when it comes to keystones and mapstones, like there's 40 keystones in the game, there's 11 mapstones. There's just no way. So we've gotten more information here, Grim. We've gotten another couple keystones. We've gotten an ability cell from Fake Flippers. I don't think anyone opted to keep that. And we also did get a mapstone below Spirit Flame. So pretty bog standard start here.
Yep, and even more keystones. I don't think, I might be wrong, I don't think either Trojan or Cutieroo checked Fake Flippers. So we know it's nothing. I don't know that they know that right away.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. It usually doesn't really come into play in most seeds. It's pretty uncommon for it to be like a double jump or something. But it does happen once in a while.
God, the first mapstone was another keystone. So this is both. Well, it's not bad exactly, right? Because you're not at a disadvantage, and in a way, it's kind of good in doubles because you don't need to communicate anything if it's completely linear.
Right? Yeah, it is a little bit weird. Just literally only keystones. A little bit of a scary moment for Shed there. He did manage to get damage down to 1 HP, even with the level up. He unfortunately took another hit right after leveling up, so making sure to play it safe. And there's our first progression, Grim. It's wall jump.
Oh god, yeah, that Frankie is spooky. If either runner, any of our runners, all four, take a death in the early game, that's going to be very disheartening. Thankfully, nothing yet. That wall jump pickup is, I think, a relatively common progression item, only because you have to get some kind of progression in the early game. It's going to allow us to clear out 3 more pickups in this area, along with another pickup when you get down to wall jump. Worth pointing out in the top right, Shed, being at only 1 health, is not able to do the damage boost that all 3 runners did, so he has to push this block, which is very slowly, but it's very slow. Oh my god. That's a good start to the commentary.
It is the slowest possible thing. So collecting yet another keystone there, and the mapstone is also a keystone. I don't even know how many keystones we've acquired so far, Grim, but it's a lot. They can do like everything. They can open their way all the way up to Grove, and they can probably even open the double jump door right now with the keys they've collected so far.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, this start isn't too exciting with wall jump. That was the 1 XP. That's phenomenal.
This has a great sense of humor, dude.
It does. For anyone unfamiliar, there is exactly one XP pickup. Now that's a little more spicy.
Yeah, we got Dash now. We're gonna go fast. Oshi collecting it, and Shed collecting it, and Trojan collecting it, and Rue collecting it, all in possession of Dash. And it looks like they're probably going to be splitting off now. We're gonna see Rue heading to the left to go to Spirit Caverns. We see Oshi climbing upwards to do the same, and we have Trojan and Shed on the right side, kindly both on the same side of the screen, doing the BRB play for us.
Yeah, as an interesting bit of trivia, you'll notice that even though on the two screens on the left, Oshi on top, Rue on the bottom, even though both of them are going to Spirit Caverns, Rue got there a little bit faster because I believe she ult-R'd and used Dash, which is a bit faster than climbing up out of wall jump, I think.
I think so, yeah, based on the visual evidence we got right in front of us. So Shed, unfortunately, getting some lore on his side as he did not have an ability point available. I don't know if he ended up... Oh, yeah, he usually performs a save glitch using an ability point on skill trees when he can, and I believe he did that on wall jump, which unfortunately deprived him of an ability point to skip the lore here, so we got a little bit of a lesson. Nothing interesting in Spirit Caverns so far except for one energy cell.
At least that intro cutscene to BRB is on the short end as far as all of Ori's cutscenes. It's especially since in Randomizer, it's quite common to enter the first half of BRB, grab some pickups, then Altar, and go through the same entrance a second time. If you watch the cutscene, you get the slow zone despawn. So it's really not too much of a time loss.
Yeah, that's true. Only about 20 seconds compared to the 70 that you get from a couple different cutscenes in this game. So this is definitely preferable. And both Rue and Oshi opting to eat this cutscene, the Hollow Grove Spirit Tree cutscene. Just get that teleporter and not worry about, if they teleport here later on with the cutscene skipped via glitch. It has a particular effect that you're particularly not a fan of.
Sign gets bugged. Essentially, if you don't skip that cutscene, or rather, if you do skip it, Sign kind of gets stuck in the pedestal as if you were actually watching the cutscene, and then you can't use Sign until you save and reload, and then you always forget that you can't do that, and then you're like, why the heck can't I use Charge Flame? And then you have a bad time. And speaking of Charge Flame, do you see what I did there?
I like it. That's a good segue. It shows up in the roof of Blackroot Burrows, and they're going to collect that. And Oshi is going to make use of a similar ability level up glitch on the Charge Flame tree. He's going to do that so that he can get through the wall to the right. It's a blue wall, and they don't have anything to break it yet, or at least Oshi doesn't. He uses it to get through there, and he collects Grenade from this XP down here. So that's a big pickup that I don't believe Rue got.
I don't think she did either. To be honest, I didn't catch the exact circumstances. It's possible that Rue fell prey to a pretty common trap in this Charge Flame area, which is going over to the left before going back over to the right, and then you kind of get stuck without an ability to break a blue wall, and maybe Rue decided, that's one pickup, I'd rather head to Blackroot Burrows. That may be what happened.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be too long before their team does collect Grenade because, of course, Trojan's in possession of Charge Flame. Rue doing Blackroot Burrows right now, so she'll be getting it before too long. Shed, having just completed Blackroot Burrows, or I should say the Darkness Lifted section, he will now be collecting his Dash Tree, catching up with Trojan on that. And Oshi for Team Heck heading into the Valley entry area, so we're going to get some new information from him, as long as he doesn't kill his Frankie.
Vula, I know we're still in the early game. We're less than 8 minutes into the seed. Do you think that either team is routing better than the other ones so far?
I wouldn't say better necessarily. Definitely the miss of not getting Grenade by Rue is a little bit unfortunate, but it's not a bad routing play or anything like that, so much as it probably is just a little bit of an oversight. But I don't really dislike this play anyway. The Alt-R back to get to Spirit Caverns a little bit faster, I really liked that. I think splitting up, they both teams have done the same thing pretty much. So I think it's been pretty even thus far.
I agree. I do also like that the team on top, Team Heck, I think is being arguably a little bit more thorough. It was interesting to me throughout the entire seed so far, effectively. We saw both teams head to wall jump, right? And then with wall jump in our possession, you saw basically the same split. One person went to Blackroot Burrows, one person decided to go through Spirit Caverns, and then all the way to the Charge Flame tree. I think that's a smart split, but I like that Oshi is effectively continuing along this trend, thus keeping Oshi and Shed just as separate as they can for a long time, covering the most amount of ground.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong meta play as far as, just making the most of your doubles team. We'll see, of course, sometimes it might not necessarily be the best play. I'm a little unclear what Oshi is attempting to do. Oh, he's trying to get the log swinging just a little bit because he's having trouble with this dash glide. This is in logic, Grim. This is a thing that could contain progression for them. It's in logic to dash glide across here and grab the wall, but he's just not quite able to pull it off, unfortunately.
I guess we just have to hope, or rather Team Heck has to hope that that's nothing. It's such a finicky wall jump. You have to get like almost a maximum distance dash glide, and of course, if you miss it, you drop back down and have to climb back up, and it's kind of painful. That said, even though Oshi's skipping it, he will quickly come towards a lot more pickups in the form of this spider sack area, since he can break a lot of things with grenade. This is something that I'm guessing we'll see either Rue or Trojan do before too long anyway. But in theory, if there's something important here, Oshi's going to find it first.
Now, I believe Trojan detoured off on the way back with Charge Flame, detoured to pick up that lowers Charge Flame XP, and he did collect Grenade for his team. So Rue will also know that that's present. They don't have Bash yet to really make great use of Grenade, but having it does save them a little bit of trouble as far as energy management, because, of course, Grenade is free in the randomizer due to its usage with Bash Grenade. It's just too much of a pain to have it cost energy, and Charge Flame does still have that cost, so having that free grenade will be pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. Also, FYI, we are aware that Oshi's stream in the top left is Frozen. Our wonderful restreamer Smashy is, we do what we can if someone's stream freezes. But in the meantime, we have 3 other streams, so don't worry, you can still get lost in the action with 3 streams rather than 4.
I mean, I'm already lost, so.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a professional broadcaster, and I know exactly what is going on. For example, I know that Trojan is following in the steps that Rue carved earlier, and he is going to watch his Grove tree cutscene right here. And meanwhile, Rue going to deposit a mapstone. I think this is number 2 for their team, and that is an energy cell coming from that.
That should be number 2, because both teams had that early mapstone. To check back in on Oshi up in the top left, we did get his stream back. I don't actually think he could have found very much while his stream was frozen. It's possible he got something valuable at the energy cell. We didn't see that. But otherwise, he could have gotten a few things in Iceless area. I guess if he found something valuable, we'll just sort of have to pay attention to his play and see if we see him using any skills that we didn't see him acquire.
Looks like he did collect a Sunstone shard somewhere along the way. From the Kuro cutscene plant is what we're told by the truck, thanks to Meldon. And so that is going to be the first Sunstone shard, the first of any shard, I believe, found by either team. So Team Heck getting good start on those, and Team Cityscape basically just they're still doing a little bit of cleanup on some of these things. They're kind of sticking a little bit closer together than Team Heck is, and it's interesting to see how their different progression is going. I think this is a pretty valid play either way. The splitting up is good because, Grim, you have the opportunity to kind of, cover more ground, but staying together in certain cases is pretty good when it's just kind of like there's stuff you have to do no matter what. So just get it done together and then kind of split a little bit later, maybe.
I agree. There are also times when you just kind of make the statistical play. Even if you could have one person check, like say in the late game, for example, you could have one runner check some of the god-awful pickups, your Glazer and your Valley Swims and all those things, and have the other person go through like Sorrow. But at that point, you might gamble, Sorrow's the dense area, we're probably going to find something, we're just going to take the gamble and have both of us go to the same spot, such that if we find something valuable, which is statistically likely, the other person won't have to waste time. In doubles, we often view it as like, you want to split up as much as possible and cover as much ground, but really what you're trying to do is the same fundamental objective as singles. Finish the seed as fast as you can. It's just that now 2 people have to do it rather than 1.
That's right. Efficiency is the key there. So on Team Cityscape, are they literally like, they're practically in sync? That's hilarious. They're doing like the exact same thing.
Yeah, so I guess for the time being, we'll just we've been paying a lot of attention to Oshi because Oshi he sort of happens to be the person who's treading the most new ground that we, from our high up commentator booths have not seen yet. Oshi did find the Grotto teleporter, which is going to be potentially valuable. He does have a number of pickups he can check in the swamp entry area, and I guess the Grotto TP isn't too impactful since he's almost certainly going to be going right in that direction momentarily anyway.
We also have Shed in the top right, attempting to energy glitch this door. We've seen this door contain some incredibly important pickups here, and he does manage to pull it off now. That's a frame-perfect trick, so it's not the most easy thing in the world. But Shed does manage to get it set up, and so he'll be able to, despite only having 3 maximum energy, he'll be able to open up a door that requires 4. We're going to find out what is behind here. Didn't get to see it earlier. It's just the girl, alas.
Well, I mean, you have to be sure. That's one of those pickups that's such a pain to come back to sometimes. As you said, I don't know if it actually has like a better probability of containing progression, but man, it sure feels like it sometimes.
It's pretty high. It's just, I mean, anecdotally. Oh, we do see Wind Restored coming from map number 3 for Cutieroo. So, Team Cityscape slightly ahead on the mapstones, Grim. And, that might not come into play right now, but it could come into play later on if they're able to kind of, find some extra shards or something like that via maps.
Yeah, I also want to point out that Oshi took a handful of deaths. I don't think anything too impactful. It's an interesting decision in my mind that Oshi is deciding to go from the Grotto teleporter area, like Grotto main, if you want to call it that, backwards through the Death Gauntlet, even though he has 4 energy. When a runner has 4 energy, it's somewhat common to altar and open up the 4 energy door, thus allowing you to save yourself basically 1 trip through the Death Gauntlet. Oh, did you see what Oshi found?
Oh my. The energy cell and Death Gauntlet glide, Grim. That, in conjunction with the Wind Restored, which Shed did also just fine for their team, that is going to give them some great mobility.
It will. It'll be useful. Glide is just one of my favorite pickups to get. It's so nice to have. It's right up there with double jump as something that you almost never absolutely need, but it makes your movement so much more, so much easier to do, and it's especially useful for both Misty Woods and Sorrow Pass, especially in conjunction with Winter Store. That'll be very useful once these runners make it over to the left side.
That's right. We're also seeing another nice skill. This one a little bit less interesting without something to complement it, but Climb showing up for Oshi at the Vanilla Water Vein location. So that's pretty interesting. And you also see here Oshi is stopped, and I like to always make sure to call this out during doubles play. It usually means that they are writing something down, either for their opponent to, for their partner to reference on something like a Google Doc, or they are writing it down on like literally a sheet of paper so that they can read it out to their opponent later on. Oh, gosh, their partner later on, which is super, super potentially important. And so, usually when they're just stopped and it looks like they're doing nothing, that's usually what's going on.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned the paper thing. This is something I thought about earlier when you mentioned like the fact that the bottom team, Team City Escape, kind of are playing a little bit closer to each other as opposed to Shed and Ochi that are really going pretty far apart. One sort of hidden benefit to playing near each other is that if you find something valuable, you don't really have to write it down because it kind of sticks in your short-term memory. You just say, hey, Glide is at this spot, and then the other person says, all right, I'll be there in 30 seconds. Don't bother stopping to write it down.
Yeah, it definitely helps a fair bit. Usually I find that, if it's far enough off in the distance, you do still, one of the partners will want to put it off a bit. And that's when you literally reach over to a piece of paper and you just jot something down very quickly. But in the case of Trojan and Cutieroo, I know last time after their previous doubles race, they did mention they kind of had, they have a thing that they're supposed to write some stuff down. And then there's the reality that sometimes they just don't. And that's just the thing. Like sometimes they're like, yep, we totally plan to write all these things down, and you just don't do it because it's too easy not to. And so that can always come into play. That can potentially affect your your outcome a little bit, but hopefully not. Hopefully both teams are able to just communicate as they need to, and if they're going to lose, it'll just be because the randomizer decided to make them lose.
Well, if we get to chat with these teams after the fact, I always like to ask doubles teams about their communication method. It's one of the most fascinating things to me, not only how they communicate, but what they decide to write down. For example, in shards specifically, when you find a Guman Seal shard, it almost never matters, except for when it does.
Oh, we got 2 pickups that are very nice there. We got a Water Vein shard and double jump, Grim.
Those are some very powerful skills. I mentioned earlier that double jump is one of those abilities that is rarely absolutely required for the seed if you know how to do sequence breaks and whatnot. But it's such a convenience. Those 2 things together with dash, with glide, means that you can start to sort of unlock the full potential of Ori's movement, and it sort of becomes a lot closer to all skills to an extent as well. Also, I think Ochi just found another Sunstone shard.
Oh, interesting.
I think.
Yeah, I had looked away just a little bit at that moment. It could also have been worth a turn.
Okay, Kyrefell telling us that it was at Mapstone 4, I think. As we said, I don't say this to make excuses, but it is hectic to keep up with these screens. So we try our best to to feed all
There's 4
relevant
screens, dude.
information.
There's 4 screens.
I know. And this game is
All right,
fast paced already.
Yeah, it really is. We actually see Oshi. I believe he's skipping the Grotto mini boss there, so I don't believe he's done it already and then was on a repeat visit. I believe he's skipping it entirely, so that's an interesting choice. It is a very common skip, but this is doubles, and it is shards as well, so there could be like a shard there, for example. It'd be very interesting to see if City Escape do head to that mini boss and possibly get something nice.
I hope so. The mini boss is always a gamble. It's not the worst pickup in the world, especially when you have something like Charge Flame to redirect its own projectiles and kill it very, very quickly. Although Rue, I think, missed one of the shots there, not 2 of the shots. Still not a big deal, to be honest. If it pays off, then that's great, and if not, then you've cost yourself, 30 seconds or whatever. But of course, it's rando. You can't know that until you've done it.
Yeah, plus you're going to lose 30 seconds to lots of other things. Might as well include this one.
Totally. Shed, for his part in the top right, made that same dip down into the Grotto Vault, the Rolling Crushers area, and got his first Water Vein Shard along with Double Jump. What I'm very curious to see, at this point, I think it's safe to say that Team Heck is a little bit further ahead in terms of the total sort of breadth of the world that they've covered so far. I wonder where Oshi is going to go first.
There's a lot of different options. He has got Grenade, he's got Double Jump now, so he's going to make an attempt on this Grenade tree here. This is kind of annoying to get to, but it is definitely in logic. This Double Jump is just a little bit weird compared to what you might expect. The log doesn't, it's not as long as it doesn't look as long as it actually is. There you go, Oshi, you just need to jump out a little bit further. Cutieroo now collecting the final Sunstone Shard. I don't recall seeing if Team Heck, when they were in here, actually did get the last Sunstone Shard. But I do see Shed doing the mini boss here.
Not the last one. Shed, I do believe, activated map 4 and got his Sunstone Shard. I believe I saw that in his pickups. And that keystone that happened to contain 3 Sunstone Shards. Reminder that there are 5 total, by the way, but in this case, the 3rd Sunstone Shard is one that there's no way either Oshi or Shed doesn't check by the time they go to the Double Jump tree.
Yeah, that's correct. Did Oshi just not do Double Jump? I wonder if he was short on keystones for that.
That could be the case, although we got so many keystones early on. I guess I haven't been, tracking them over the course of the whole seed. Maybe he just was had a bit of an off by 1 error.
Well, we do see Shed about to head in and check it, so we'll get our authoritative information, and that is number 3 out of 3 for Team Heck, so they're good to go. Oshi is heading to the teleporter here. Where is he going to go? Into BRB. He apparently has not done this. How has he not done this? Oh yeah, he got Grenade earlier. Yeah.
It could also be that well, I guess here's what I'm thinking. At this point in a seed with runners of this caliber, you have to start thinking about, when can I finish the seed? When can I start going to one side or the other side? Which trees can I reach? At this point, getting to the light grenade tree isn't in logic, but you can do something that we call the reverse Frankie walk, which is not too difficult to do if you know how to do it with dash. So we might see any number of these runners go for that trick if they're just sort of looking for something to do to, spend their time.
So speaking of things to do to spend your time, Oshi's first thing to do to spend his time a minute ago was to check that grenade tree, and I totally looked away at the moment that he got it, but it was Charge Jump. So that was a very nice skill pickup for his team, and that puts them in great position right now.
Well, Charge Jump is wonderful, but they have 2 skills. Well, a bunch of skills, but they have Climb and Charge Jump, which simulates Stomp. So that whole reverse Frankie walk I mentioned a minute ago, it's out the window, because now you can just use Climb and Charge Jump to simulate a Stomp.
That's unfortunate. It's cold outside, dude. Somewhere. Yeah. Not here. Yeah. Actually, it's pretty warm here.
Oh ho! Did you look at that? Shed just found his 2nd Water Vein Shard, pulled off a nice grenade jump as well. 2nd Water Vein Shard was the ability cell to the left of the Ginso entrance. That's one that is also very commonly skipped in a lot of seeds, but with both the ability to grenade jump and glide wind restored, it's very easy to reach.
Yeah, and we're seeing him check a bunch of these locations around here. Would not be surprised if he is planning to head into Swamp for real. I think he forgets that he actually already killed that particular cutscene there. He does also collect the Sorrow teleporters. That is a great find in any seed. It's going to make it way easier to get to the charge jump tree and faster, most importantly.
There was a time, Vooligin, you may remember, when teleporter pickups did not exist in the randomizer, and then the
No, we
glorious
don't
day
speak of
came.
that time.
Yes, we don't speak of that time, but if it hypothetically existed, there was such a time. Now we have teleporter pickups, which means that one way or another, every rando runner in a seed has to go to the left side, right? Because there are trees on the left side you have to reach. Left side can be reached with skills, namely bash and grenade. I'm sorry, bash and stomp in most cases, or it can be reached via teleporters. And if you get teleporters, you can circumvent some of the usual requirements, which means it's possible we'll get a bashless seed.
Yeah, we could also, I mean, the game is totally finishable within the power of, I think, all 4 runners with no bash and no grenade. Now, Rue collecting water, no bash and no stomp. Dang it, Grim.
It's hard, dude. You have to string together all these words, and they have all kinds of different sounds. It's weird.
I know, and different meanings, too. God, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Rue was collecting her water vein shard from the redirect area as well as double jump, so great finds for her team. And we see Trojan actually going to the trouble of doing the Glades laser. And boy, this really sucks if you don't get something useful out of this because of how slow it is. And he doesn't get something useful out of it, so oof.
I guess it's not useless. It's not like 2 experience. It's better than it could have been, I suppose. Silver lining, sort of. Sure, let's just go with that. I want to draw attention to...
Oh,
Never
hello.
mind.
Hold on, Grim.
Screw my thing. my thing gold news.
Stomp at the XP above the grotto teleporter right there. So that's a really nice find for Rue. It's not... Again, it's possible to complete the seed right now, but boy, that's going to make certain things a bit faster and easier.
It's going to be very, very valuable for their team. Stomp allows you to, I think most notably at this point, get into the light grenade area, but it can also be used, of course, to break open or break the rocks above Kuro's head and get to the feather skill. And speaking of the feather skill, Shed is the first runner to utilize that Sorrow teleporter and head over to the left side of the map. Interesting. Oh, I see what he's doing. He wanted to check one pickup, and now he wants to go through the right side in order to exit back down out of Sorrow Pass once he's done here.
That's right. Meanwhile, Oshi doing a little bit of cleanup in lower Blackroot. Rue looked like she might have been considering heading into Swamp, but of course she hasn't picked up Charge Jump yet, so Stomp gets her half of the way, but the lack of Bash and the lack of Charge Jump makes it a little bit rough, and neither Trojan nor Rue has ended up getting back to that tree at the beginning of the game, and we have Shed going to the top of Sorrow.
They still need one more water vein shard. It's not an unreasonable play to think, even though Shed is left side, Oshi still has to come left side and sort of catch up to him. So in the meantime, this is, we've kind of overused this term, but this is legitimately a power play. If this is a water vein shard, it's something that Trojan and Rue will almost certainly not do because it takes quite a bit of time.
I cannot get behind this script. There's no way. Come on.
I'm trying to be positive.
It was the keystone, so not getting a lot of payoff for his troubles there, but Shed does give us a nice view of the ow of the top of Nibel, and now he will eat a laser and make a return trip there. Rue does get to the cell above the Ginso tree there, and we'll also get to enjoy her Kuro cutscene.
Now this is pretty fascinating. Looking at this seed right now, we already talked once earlier in the seed as for which team was in the lead. Right now, I do still feel like Team Heck is in the lead with Oshi already going to the light grenade tree. Shed took a death, but that was intentional because there was nothing valuable on the right side of there. I'm curious to see who's going to find that third water vein shard first.
Well, Shed, you said there's nothing valuable on the right side of Spike Cave, but on the left side, the first 2 pickups he found were Forlorn Teleporter and a Gumon Steel Shard.
Yeah.
So the game possibly
like I said,
hit
nothing valuable.
Oh, I will laugh so very, very hard if Forlorn has Water Vein Shards.
Well, okay, you know what Forlorn has? Much as we meme about Forlorn, and for good reason, it's a silly place. Forlorn has a very, very quick teleporter, and with charge jump and double jump and wall jump, you can get to a number of pickups rather quickly. In terms of item density, it's kind of a decent play.
Speaking of decent plays, we do have Trojan heading up to get charge jump from this grenade tree, so that's a great pickup now for Team Cityscape. Ooh, Rue taking a death in the grenade area, unfortunately, but she is going to literally immediately just beeline for a charge jump. Why not? She can go back to the grenade area whenever, but she wants this pickup very badly, and I do not blame her at all.
Oh my god, look at the swinging on that platform. Putting the Unity physics to the test, I suppose.
Oh my god, dude. Oh,
where's it going? It's not Ginso platform level of insane, but it's getting there.
And without Bash, this is actually really annoying. One option that she could make use of is to rocket jump. I'm not sure if she's gonna think about it. It's always harder to come up with the ideas of how to use your skills, when you're actually playing compared to when you're just sitting here commentating. The commentating part's easy.
Oh, we missed something, Religion. We missed something very important. Meldon, thankfully, didn't miss it. Water Vein Shard on the charge jump tree. That is 3 out of 3. We are in go mode as far as shards are concerned.
Yeah, and I don't think anything else is going to stop Team Heck from just finishing up from here, because they've got the left side access they already need, and I don't doubt either of their abilities to finish the entire game with no Bash and no Stomp. So I think they're basically just in go mode. They're just going to wrap up the stuff that they haven't completed individually. We do see Shed checking a couple pickups, so maybe trying to get something that would be, nice. I would have to think it would be either Bash or Stomp.
I mean, there's only 2 skills they don't have, so yeah, Bash or Stomp. And Stomp at this point is irrelevant to them.
Ability so grim. Ability so.
Oh my god. Oh, this is... Sorry, that took me a moment to process. We're getting some lore up in the top right. If anyone hasn't played this game casually, watching a speedrun doesn't really spoil much, and this doesn't either, because honestly, what's even happening in this cutscene?
Well, okay, so basically the young Oris, they like to play games featuring basically live grenades, which seems like a very poor idea. And there's this young Naru, of course Naru, Ori's adoptive mother, and she said, her father here, she wants to play with the Oris that are playing with the live grenades, and her father's like, hello? Those are grenades. You're going to literally get blown up, and so takes her away, and unfortunately, she loses her friendship with the grenade-loving Oris as a result.
That I could not have summed it up better myself. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I don't even know how to continue after that. I forgot all about the race.
There's no way to continue. Yeah, it's over.
I guess it's good that the runners can't hear you, because they'd just be blown away in awe at your commentating prowess. Anyway, this is serious. This is serious business. Oshi broke the rocks, so he's about to get his feather. Possibly some... okay, no, that was just a bit of a blip on our end. Oshi is all fine. He's about to get feather. I'm sure he'll go straight to the left side. Without Bash, he's going to have to be slightly more careful with his movement, but not very much so. Meanwhile, Shed, I believe, is going to be our first runner with a completed water vein to head into the big tall tree.
That's correct. And with 7 out of 10 trees complete, that's a pretty good position for him and for Team Heck. I believe Oshi also hanging out around that. Nope, 8 out of 10, in fact, for Oshi. So that is a really good number. All he needs is climb, and then he's going to head to the Ginso tree, and he'll be able to finish up. For Rue's part, she, I believe, did make her way back into Grenade, I believe, and completed that. And then Trojan is collecting the Stomp tree, so unfortunately a pretty significant deficit right now, thanks largely to kind of the lack of shards. Possibly, Team Cityscape just being a little more conservative, Grim.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like I was going to say, to flip back to the other side, what I want to see out of Team Heck is I want them to skip all pickups. They have all the shards they need. They have all the skills they need, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Oshi has already skipped a number of pickups in the first half of Misty Woods. Shed is just rushing upwards through the Ginso tree as fast as he can. Trojan Dude and Rue do not have that luxury, even though I'm sure they're comfortable with their skills to finish the game. That Water Vein Shard could be anywhere, and a reminder that we've only seen 3 of them, so somewhere in the world there are 2 more Water Vein Shards hiding out. Team Cityscape only needs to find 1 of them.
Indeed. Trojan and Rue both hanging out at 5 out of the 10 trees required to finish, so it's going to be a tough road for them. I can't see right now what would derail Team Heck from being able to finish this off, as Oshi is getting into the climb tree here, and Shed just picked up his 8th tree as well. There's going to be 9 for Oshi. Rue getting 6, Trojan having just gotten 5, and he's going to be heading to looks like Grenade next.
I think this just marks a major difference, and again, this is something we can hopefully get the opportunity to chat with these teams about later. Shed and Oshi just went left side quite a bit faster, and sort of to continue off my own thoughts, did Trojan and Rue find the Sorrow teleporter? Do you remember?
I definitely recall seeing Trojan pick it up not too long ago.
Wait, sorry, Rue just teleported there. So
perfect.
Yes.
So they both have it, yes.
Thanks, Rue. Making our job easy. I do like the play to the left side. Rue is not going to go up top, which Shed did. I'm assuming that because Rue still needs the Water Vein Shard, she's going to do pretty much the same searching, use that feather and the wind that is naturally present in Sorrow to check some more keystones, just sort of clear out as many things as she can.
Meanwhile, Shed is leaving Sorrow via the central shaft, and he's going to stop along the way, collect a thing or two. I think he might just want health, possibly, because of not having Bash. The final escape could be a little bit rough, having to take some health damage from the elemental room midway through, and then he will also need to take some damage from the poison water at the end. So he's probably going to want either Ultra Defense or a the health thing.
Yes.
More health. That.
I agree. It is interesting. We talk about this all the time, but it bears repeating. The final escape is a death gauntlet, not to be confused with the death gauntlet, but it's a different death gauntlet. So there's a lot of things that can kill you, and as such, a lot of barriers you need to be able to traverse safely. In this case, with the skills we have, the hardest parts are going to be one, getting past the fire room, which can be done with a damage boost or probably with some kind of clever grenade jump if you were particularly well positioned. The other thing is poison water, because neither team has been able to clean the water yet.
Well, I'm not super concerned. I want to say for either team, but at least for Shed and Oshi, I'm not super concerned about the Lava Pillar room, because they're both educated in how to do the over-the-top strat. They're going to be able to jump on over, and then they're going to be able to dash across, and that's going to make things really nice for them, especially with double jump, probably triple jump on both sides, and I don't recall, but they might have even gotten extra double jumps, so that's not a huge deal. But the room right after that has a lava elemental that shoots projectiles, and you're supposed to bash off them. They don't have bash, so their only option is basically to either drop into the fire and eat it real quick for a huge amount of damage, or wall charge jump very precisely across, and then jump onto a wall above them using double jump, or they could grenade jump. I have a feeling they both know how to grenade jump, but of course the execution of that is always a thing.
These are some of the weird, arbitrary facts that one must remember in order to compete at Randomizer at a high level. Is very, very complicated. It's fun, but it's complicated.
Those are true words.
Yeah, Trojan in the bottom right is taking a little bit of a rough time. Thankfully, he has a save right there, so none of these deaths are particularly costly. Doing some spike testing for Moon Studios. Trojan should be able to do this. Yeah, with double jump and feather, he used a climb charge jump that time to get across. Check this out from our top two runners, though. Both Oshi and Shed, I think, are both done with their trees.
At the same time, no less. They're just going to the final escape together. That's an interesting and fun time that they'll get to have. And Trojan and Rue, unfortunately, kind of left behind now. They have a bunch of trees left to go. They haven't. You can't even say that they've played badly or anything like that. It's just that Oshi and Shed were able to be so efficient. They split up a lot early on, and that really helped. And they also were able to quickly find the shards, which of course is somewhat luck based, but also just because of their splitting up, they were able to efficiently get where they wanted to go.
Sorry, I'm laughing. That's a rarely seen trick. Oshi didn't quite get enough charge on this bad boy. You have to charge this guy up, and then you activate him, and he gets real angry at you and flies off in the other direction and wrecks the door for you. Shed got it first try. Oshi just has to, give him a little bit more juice. Just put in a few batteries. There we go.
Well, that was some juice, all right.
It's just so funny. It just goes flying.
It's a great strat that you only see if you're missing both Bash and Stomp, because with Bash you can just bash the Baneling as intended, and with Stomp you can actually just stomp the wall the same way you can stomp a lot of other walls in the game. But yeah, with neither you have to do that hilarious strat.
By the way, to quickly check in, Trojan, while Rue was doing a lot of work in Misty Woods, Trojan decided to, correctly split up and head to Sorrow Pass first and made it to the charged jump tree and got the third water vein shard. What that means is that Rue and Trojan now have the option to stop checking all pickups unless they want to keep searching for Bash. We also see Rue in the bottom left duping Keystones.
Yeah, in fact, she actually got a bonus water vein shard. I believe she might not even need to get any other ones because she got one off of, I think, map 5, which is pretty interesting. But here we go. Oshi actually passing Shed thanks to a slightly better door warp execution. So Oshi gets a head start on the escape, and it's going to be up to his execution here to not lose this obviously very important race with his partner Shed. And ooh, almost fell out of bounds, but he's okay.
Yeah, so this is a non-trivial escape. I mean, both Oshi and Shed are very experienced, so they know exactly what they're doing, but it's, well, just to repeat myself, it is non-trivial. If you look at the top left, this spot for Oshi is where things are a little bit difficult. He's going to try to get up top there. The reason is that he can damage boost here, and he'd probably be fine, but then he has to be pretty precise in getting through the poison water at the end, and he might just not be confident he has quite enough health to do both.
Shed does manage to get through. He makes use of a grenade jump. Oshi was trying for that and unfortunately got plinked by one of those shots from the elemental, and those things deal a ton of damage, but Shed got nipped by the fish and Oshi dashing into the lava pillar. So a rough time for both of them, but I mean, fortunately for them, it's going to take a lot at this point. I mean, they would have to get infinite for the next like 7 or 8 minutes, and even then, City Escape doesn't have Bash either, so the escape's not going to be much easier for them.
Nice, another grenade jump by Shed. That's, twice in a row he got that. That's not the easiest trick because you have to line up that grenade jump quite fast. This time Shed is going to charge flame to kill these guys. So nice job getting through. He died right at the end.
This is surprising. He has 6 HP, but, you think, if you think about all skills, you're like, oh, 6 HP, that's enough, right? But the problem is he doesn't have Bash, and that actually makes a huge difference here. Also doesn't have Stomp, so he can't even get more distance into the water to be able to have a quicker traversal there. So actually this is very hard for him, and might not even be doable without Ultra Defense, but we're going to find out.
If it's doable, it's really, really tight. Shed nearly made it through a second time. I hope this is possible because the alternative is painful. The alternative is I'm in the final escape with my partner in a doubles match and I have to back out to get, I don't know, health regen or an extra health cell or something. And it probably even wouldn't take Shed very long to find it, but knowing him, I doubt he's going to back out unless he becomes convinced that it's not possible anymore.
Well, there for Rue, that's tree number 10, so she is going to start making her way to Horu, and I think Trojan is able to do the same. So they're going to join Shed and Oshi in this very difficult escape where they both take synchronized deaths now. Okay, Trojan does actually still need Ginso, so it is a pretty substantial buffer zone that Shed and Oshi have, but wow, this is really just a tense position to be in if you are Team Hack right now.
Yeah, and this is a good thing Kyrfell pointing out to us. If you look at the... Well, first of all, like, Trojan has more health. For example, I think Oshi has a lot of health, but Team City Escape also has Stomp, which means they'll be able to get some initial downward velocity into the water, and as a result, get through it much more quickly. So this spot that Shed is having a lot of trouble, and he actually did back out. He has to go find some more health or Ultra Defense.
I cannot believe that this race is taking this turn, Grim, as Oshi is going to attempt to set up. He makes use of the charge jump followed by double jump. So Oshi should be able to finish up here. He's got 9 health. He did get into the swim earlier. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get munched by these fish. And he is able to make it to the end. So just a quick bit of movement here, and he gets sniped by the rock. Are you kidding me?
That is so unlucky. Correct me if I'm wrong, Vooligen, but... the cycles in this final escape in terms of exactly when all these rocks fall is essentially a global cycle from the first time you start the escape. What that means is that if you did everything perfectly the first time through, you know where the rocks are going to be, but the second you die, it becomes a little more unpredictable. Is that correct?
I'm not so sure about those last rocks. A lot of the other rocks, Oshi taking damage here. He's not going to be able to make the swim on this one. I think the rocks at the very last section there are just purely random. And so as a result, it's kind of question marks. Rue is on door warp and she pulls it off, so she's right behind Oshi right now. and Shed is farming, and a Gumon Seal Shard. What good is that?
This is just insane. Both Shed and Oshi started the final escape extremely quickly. It looked like they were going to not only run away with it, but get, an average time finishing about at the same time as each other. But right now, Oshi is still ahead in the final escape. So if he gets this attempt, he will finish out first, and then it becomes effectively a race between Trojan and Shed. But check out where Trojan's going, and Trojan is not going to have the same troubles that Shed has had.
Yeah, with 8 health and Stomp to be able to get more distance into the swim, the important thing is being able to get through the elemental room, but we've seen Rue have some difficulty in here before, and, Trojan also might not be comfortable with this. It's always hard to know which specific kinds of things they're going to be comfortable with. Wow, Rue going over the top, so showing great knowledge of that. She is actually ahead of Oshi right now, thanks to another death. She's going to wait for the lava pillar to go down, try for a grenade jump here. I like this particular strat, just make it a little bit easier to cross this gap here.
Well, I also like that Rue prevented, she despawned Kuro, or if you want to put it another way, prevented Kuro from ever spawning in the first place, which means that she can take as many attempts at this grenade jump as she wants. This is just insane. Left side, it's neck and neck between Oshi and Rue, 2 members in the final escape on different teams. Trojan is getting to the final escape as well, so Trojan is about to throw his hat in the ring for the final escape, where Shed he's not finding health.
You think there's enough health cells left in the video game that they would find one, and he is just not. Rue abandoning the grenade jump, but she manages to use wall charge jumps to get through instead. Now she is going to try to get through here. Oh, that damage. Not going to allow her to make the swim, Grim.
No. With clean water, this would be effectively free, but it's not. Even with Stomp, this is not going to be possible unless with some god-level health drop. But no, Rue is back to the start of the final escape, as is Oshi. Trojan also at the start of the final escape. We have 3 different runners in the final escape at the same time.
And the only reason that Shed is not also there is that he's already worked out that for his stats, it is literally impossible, and so he cannot do it. So we've got Rue back for the grenade jump again. Shed found a health cell. He will actually have a chance to finish here.
Rue took damage, had to die and restart. Pay attention to bottom right. How is Trojan going to do? Trojan died and has to restart. I did not expect the race to end this way. This is unbelievable.
I'm just absolutely beside myself. Rue also alt-Ring, Oshi also alt-Ring, and they're both going to go try to find either Bash or more health, or more ability cells to learn Ultra Defense. Trojan, he is halfway through the escape now. He's coming up to the Room of Truth. He has to be able to either grenade jump here, or somehow do the wall charge jump followed by double jumps. He can't take any damage or it's all over.
This is insane. I didn't expect Shed to back out, and then he did. I didn't expect her to back out, and then she did. Trojan is still in the escape, so if Trojan can finish this out, that'll do wonders for the average time of Team City Escape. I will also say that with Shed's searching, it took him longer than expected to find a health cell. But now that he has one, he was able to just tell Oshi go exactly to this spot and get it. Trojan got a grenade jump, but took damage on the fire anyway. He's not going to be able to make this.
Correct. There's no way, Trojan. You can't.
You can dodge that there, by the way?
Yeah, if you get into the water and then just get out, you're safe. However, you cannot wait for the health regen here. This is way too long. Okay, he's alt-Ring.
That was going to take probably literally like 10 or 20 minutes. Like, probably not quite that long, but a long, long time to refresh.
So this is still not easy for Shed. He still has to pull off the grenade jump here, and then he's got to pull off a nearly perfect swim. That fire, by the way, is very, very aggressive, and there you go. Another hit for Shed, so he has to take a death. Where? Oh my god. I just don't even think.
Rue just found a health cell over on the left side, one of the keystones in the Forlorn Ruins. That's going to make her job easier, but Rue... What am I trying to say? Shed had 6 health and was unable to do it. What that means is that with actually a better skill set, given that Team City Escape has Stomp, it was always possible for Rue to finish out the escape but wasn't comfortable. How much health does she need before she feels comfortable trying again? Because, boy, look, Shed's already in the water again.
Yeah, and here we go with 2 health, 1 health, and he gets munched again. Oh my goodness.
The fishes are hungry. They haven't had their fish food.
So we do want to bring up a point which might or might not be a problem. This is, I say might or might not, because sometimes this is a problem and other times it's not, but we think Trojan might have soft locked his escape. And the reason is that he alt-R'd at the end of the escape. If you alt-R out of the escape, sometimes it's okay. It might not be in this case because of how deep he was in there, but we're gonna have to see. I mean, it's almost like if he did at this point, I don't even know. Like, it might not even matter. Shed finally making it through the water crim. Jeez.
Now he's at very, very low health. Touching any of these things will kill him, and he can't bash off. Probably be fine. Trying to do a climb charge jump to get in place for his grenade jump. Setting up on the wall, he'll pre-charge. Well, he'll charge up the thing, grenade, and jump. Didn't get it first try. Can he get a second try? Yes.
There it is. Whew. GG to Shed. After all of that, managed to sneak out of the water with 0.000001 health, and he will be able to take the first finish here. If Oshi is able to finish up in the near future, which is no guarantee with how difficult this escape is, Team Heck should be able to walk away. But for now, Shed has been successful. Trojan's trying to door warp again. We're going to find out if he's able to even get back into the escape.
I really, really hope so. After all this effort, it would be absolutely tragic to just not be able to finish the escape at all. Trojan just got his door up. He's going to be heading back inside. Is he toast?
Well, he's toast at least one time there. I think you might be able to sneak over this fire.
This situation arises so infrequently. It's so rare to be able to make it to the final escape and not finish it. And speaking of finishing escape, top left, Oshi has made it through the poison water. Is going to be doing a similar thing to Shed, doing a climb charge jump on the wall to try to get into position, narrowly avoiding the rock. First try grenade jump, no soft lock. That's GG to both Shed and Oshi. Team Heck will be taking a very hard fought victory.
My goodness, the composure required to be able to get through that absolutely ridiculous situation, and oh, wow, GG to them. Shed finishing up at 50-48 a moment ago. Oshi will just be holding right. Trojan, actually, you can sneak through this spot here, I believe, by crouch dashing. I don't know if he'll still take damage on the right side is the thing, but you can crouch dash through here, I believe.
Yeah, I actually saw Trojan typing in our SRL chat. He is, aware of the predicament that he finds himself in. As you said, it is possible for Trojan, I think you said this, it is possible for him to load a backup save that could allow him to restore the, escape to its former value. But I'm going to be honest, Vooligan, and I think you're in the same boat. This never comes up, so, I don't even know exactly what the correct solution is. I don't know how far back he has to go as far as backup saves.
Well, it depends on how much farming he did after leaving here. And, I mean, this is really rough. You hate to see anyone get put in this position because, he played really well for the entire beginning of this seed. Got to the escape. Like literally everyone else in this particular match, got completely walled by not having bash or stomp and just being short the exact skills needed to do this. And I mean, at this point, it's like you want to finish up. You really want to. Your team has taken a loss. The result is determined. If you wanted to load a backup, he definitely could. It might take him a fair bit back, but mostly it just really sucks to have your efforts through the course of the race kind of result in this at the end.
It's just a bizarre series of events. I mean, technically speaking, Trojan did something wrong, but it's a mistake that any of us could have made. When you're in the final escape and you can't do it, what do? You alt-R and go do something else. Which is exactly what Shed and Oshi did. They just did it in different spots effectively that didn't soft lock. I guess there's no way around it. This is just an unlucky situation for Trojan to find himself in.
Both Rue and Trojan do manage to get Ultra Defense now, so Rue's going to pull off her door warp momentarily.
Look at Trojan starting up his escape again. Did he load a proper backup save this time?
Correct. He loaded a backup a fair bit earlier, collected the validation ability cell, and was able to use that to learn Ultra Defense. So if he is able to pull off either the wall charge jump or the grenade jump from the
Yeah, I
lava
agree.
elemental room, that one, then he should be okay. But that, of course, is no guarantee because that is a difficult room.
I just wonder where Bash was this seed. I mean, a lot was covered on both sides, and neither team found it. Nice! Grenade jump still took damage, though.
Yeah, that wall is not your friend. There's a spot that's safe about halfway up. Then there's the spot right above it that is not safe, and then there's the safe spot right above that. And so it's pretty crappy. Unfortunately, Trojan taking a death. Rue is beginning her escape again, and I think both of them absolutely have it within them to finish this from here. It's just hard. It's just a very difficult escape, and doing it after all this, your nerves have got to be completely frayed. So it's not the easiest thing, even just to finish up. But we'll see if they're able to do that.
I hope so. Trojan does have ultra defense, which means this really, really hard, but it's feasible. Like, this amount of health without ultra defense would probably be a bad time. With ultra defense, it's feasible. That was very close. Yep, using Charge Flame into water since you can't bash off these fish. Trojan is through. He'll be doing a charge jump to despawn Kuro. Can also do grenade jumps at the end. Let's go, Trojan. I want to see this grenade jump.
Rue, unfortunately, was right behind him in the water, but took one too many damage a little bit before that. Trojan pulls off his grenade jump. First try. GG to him. We'll be finishing up shortly. And Rue, for her part, was basically right there, so she should be able to finish up in the very near future. And, definitely not the way we expected this race to end, Grim. We did get kind of the result that we figured was going to happen around, like, the 38-minute mark. But, boy, this is not how we expected it to occur.
I think this is really evidence of the fact, if anyone is, sometimes think that the final escape is a cakewalk. It is, most of the time, until you don't have Bash and don't have any of the freaking things that you really, really want, like Queen. It so rarely comes up, this particular combination that can cause you such grief. It's so rare. It's certainly the first time we've seen it. It's not the first time we've seen difficulty in the final escape in the tournament, but I think it's the first time we've seen this particular variety of it.
Yeah, usually by this time, in a seed of this type, where you don't have Bash and have to do the Bashless escape, usually you've managed to acquire a bunch of health along the way, enough to live. Usually you've acquired enough ability cells where you can learn Ultra Defense, and it practically doesn't matter how much damage you take. It's just in this one case where that did not occur for any of the 4 runners. They all were just in absolute dire straits. But unfortunately, it looks like Rue is a little bit short health again here, so take one more death, and hopefully on this attempt we'll be good.
There is effectively no margin for error for Cutieroo. She has to just get through this, taking as little damage as she possibly can in a sequence that is designed to sort of just knock you around and deal as much damage as she can. The good news is this is possible. Of course, I mean, she will get it if Rue decides to stick with it. I don't know how many times we need to repeat that it is hard, but it is. If this looks hard, it's because it is.
Yeah, it is hard. This is a very... Bash alone, the skill Bash, is just such an important skill. Alright, very good job by Rue there. That was exactly the strat that she wants to do, of just getting some distance over that lava, over that fire that is, jumping in intentionally while charging a charge jump, so that you can then jump out of it safely. So, almost getting nipped by the fish at the end, but she manages to make it through. No Kuro spawn, Grim, and just one more grenade jump in her way.
Yeah, I think Rue's going to have to do the same little bit of trickery. I think that just a regular charge jump doesn't quite get you high enough, but there Rue is on the wall, charging up the grenade jump, didn't get it first try. That's A-okay. She's just going to finish out the normal way, which means that Rue is going to be holding right for slightly longer than the other runners, but right now that isn't what matters. GG to everyone involved. That was rough.
Yeah, that's it's not even necessarily the difficulty of the escape in and of itself is quite high for sure. But in this particular case, it wasn't even just that. It was the fact that the seed was so fast, from Shed and Oshi's perspective especially, as they were the first to get to the escape. The seed was so fast that when they got walled by not having sufficient health to get through there, not having ultra defense, not having triple jump, in I think Oshi's case, not being able to really easily compensate for the lack of bash, it must have just destroyed their nerves and just made them be like, oh my god, Trojan and Rue are going to finish any minute here. They found bash. It's all over, dude. And so in that situation, it's even harder, Grim, to just relax yourself and do the thing that you need to do.
Yeah, that's a boring response on my part, but yeah, you are exactly correct. It's admirable that everyone kept their composure as well as they did. Didn't panic, backed out when they needed to, found health, did backup saves when they needed to, and were able to finish it out. So we have our final results. Team Heck, Oshi and Shed is going to take the victory with an average time of 51:24, even though they first entered the escape at like 38 minutes. That was absurd. And Team City Escape, Rue and Trojan, the couple team playing in the same room, 58:05 average. GG to all involved.
Indeed, GG to everyone. Very, very unusual race. Heck being the almost certainly slightly favored team in this matchup, and they do manage to take a victory. So, despite having no action last week in their team, they did manage to come away with a victory here, which will certainly make them feel good. And they'll go to 2-0. And as for Trojan and Cutieroo, they will drop to 1-1, but they still have plenty of opportunities to get to that 3-2 record they want for the bracket.
Yeah. Well, with that in mind, I see all 4 runners in on deck. I'm in right now. There's all 4 of you. GG to all of you.
Yo, thanks.
Yo, what a seed.
Yeah, you could say that. Let's just jump right into the questions. Shed, have you ever had to do the escape in that exact same way? And well, that's my question.
Yes, but I either had ultra defense or like 2 more health. I've never had this exact like health and situation.
So elaborate for us, and we'll start with Shed. We'll go around the entire circle of people who all got ruined by the final escape. There's all 4.
Everyone.
But we'll start with Shed and just like tell us as you were going through, because of the 4 participants here, you have a 29 in all skills. You'd have to say that your skill level is the highest of the 4 players, and you were just getting absolutely walled, just not able to do what you needed to do there. Just everything was going against you. So what was going through your mind by the time you decided, I actually have to leave and go get something else?
I mean, the whole time I never felt like I had to leave. I felt so close. I felt like I know I can do this. I'm close enough that I should be able to. But then at one point I was just like, if I'm gonna finish this, like I need practice to be able to do this as well as I actually do. So I was pretty nervous about altaring out because I knew it would be a long trek back, but I just kind of felt like I had to.
All right, and same question, Oshi, from your perspective. What parts of that were the most difficult parts for you, and therefore like how was your feeling as you were going through that experience?
For me, it was the elemental room, since I feel less consistent with grenade jumps than Shed. I wanted to do that whole get on the ledge near the elemental, but had some wonky collisions and couldn't really climb onto it half the time. So I decided to leave once Shed found the stuff, and I was like, this is going to be a lot easier and more consistent. I did get through once without the ultra defense, and then I got Sigma rocked. Shooting at Sigma?
Yeah.
God. You got Sigma rocked by the big rock too. That was
Well, Trojan and Rue, I could ask you guys about escape, where your biggest pain points are. I have some other questions about the rest of the seed, but I do kind of want to give you a chance to talk about that final escape if you want to. Trojan first. What do you think the hardest part for you of that final escape was at the end?
The elemental room, because like I had to figure out a way to. I was originally trying to like figure out a way, like, okay, how can I get through this, with this skill set without quadrum to like dash through, and I was really struggling. So that's that was really hard. And then we didn't have clean water, so we couldn't get through the rest. And that was kind of a realization, like while we were going through it.
And then
Go ahead, Vula.
Rue, of course, the same question will kind of wrap up this line of thought because you don't want to dwell too much on the final escape, but it was just such a huge part of the race. So, Rue, I of course, in a previous race, you've had some problems with the final escape because it's freaking hard. So, just what was going through your mind as you guys were doing it, and when you did decide to altar? Oh, your mic's not coming through.
I see the circle lighting up, but yeah, I don't hear sound for some reason. Well, yeah, I
Gonna
guess.
talk on mine.
Okay.
Get open.
Okay. I can't really hear them. Oh, I'm sorry. I put my headset on. I don't want to figure it out right now. Essentially, it was an emotional one. I thought I was able to do it with triple jump, and ultra defense is really powerful. The really, really sad realization at the poison was because everything else I was like, all right, doing it, and then the inevitable happened.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be clear. This is maybe if you guys didn't want spoilers or something, sorry. But all of you got absolutely destroyed by that final escape. Nobody escaped its wrath today. Bashless final escape is really hard. I know obviously City Escape, you guys are going to go away disappointed with the loss, but you just want to it is really hard, and all of you struggled through it. You all made it through eventually. So hats off to you for doing that, especially in a race situation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
GG, guys.
Yeah, GGU as well.
Well, I want to ask on a little more positive note. There's just something I always like to ask double teams, and we'll start with you guys, Rue and Trojan. You guys play within earshot of each other, right? Like in the same room, effectively.
Yeah, we're literally in the same room, and we're able to kind of show each other where things are at, but we're trying to get better at communication. That's the main thing.
Yeah, calling out locations. Yeah.
Do you write anything down, on paper or a notepad or anything?
We've been trying to, but in practice we do, but not in a race tournament setting, because we do have these sheets, and I had this really good idea of splitting the tracking. So in other words, I was in charge of map location, what else? Teleporter locations, stuff like that. And then he was in track of shards. But the thing is, when you're in that setting and you're going against an opponent that is going to be hard, we really did not track after
a certain
plates.
point. Yeah.
Sure. Do you think that caused any problems this seed, or do you think you remembered everything you needed to remember well enough?
No, we did really well.
No, the only one that it was my own fault, because she told me which specific crushers, and I checked all of the pickups around the double jump area crushers. But other than that, no, we did really well that seed.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess a similar question to you guys, Oshi and Shed. You do not have the luxury to your computer screen or anything. What's your communication sort of rules of thumb?
We both watch each other's streams, on another monitor or something like that. So that's always really helpful. And we have a Google Sheets that we both have open. And anytime you get something important, you call it out. And if the other person wants it written down, then if you get a moment, cutscene or something, just Alt Tab, shorthand it, and then go back.
It's always really great because sometimes I can memorize useless information, like how there's a health cell in Spirit Caverns. So when Shed ult-R'd from the final escape, he went there. But then
I forget that I already checked it.
Yeah, but then things like the third Sunstone Shroud, it was Mapstone 4, and we were like, oh, that's easy, don't need to write that down, and I forgot that. But, great memory.
This seed in particular was a little interesting because we were kind of close together for a lot of it, so we actually have very little in our notes, maybe even half a normal seed, just because one of us was close enough where it was easy to remember, at a tree or something.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting how early in the seed it was fairly kind of constrained. It was a little bit obvious where to go, other than, I mean, why is the seed giving us like 15 keystones? But aside from that, it made a lot of sense where
I
to
wish
go.
some
so-
of them were ability cells.
Oh
Well,
man.
that was an insane race. In a strange way, I'm happy that you all got bodied so that no one sort of was singled out as having a rough time. I wish it hadn't gone that way, but it provided for a very, very entertaining race, and I think it was really cool to see how you all adapted on the fly to having to, confront a final escape that's very different from most that you'll find. So good job to all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, second that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we'll throw the kind of standard last question here. For Shed and Oshi, you guys are going to 1-1. Sorry, going to 2-0 now. Of course, one of those being from your bye victory last week, but this one is a real one over a real physical team that actually exists. So good job. And just going forward in that 2-0 group,
2-0.
how are you looking to prepare? How are you looking to do in that going forward?
Practice Bashless Final Escape.
Yeah.
But actually, I was about to practice it before the race started, and then we got the seed, and I was like, oh, well, if I do this Final Escape, then I'm going to see the pickups. So I couldn't.
I can't imagine what would prompt you to want to practice it now, though.
Oh yeah, we'll keep doing seeds and practice and such. I feel like even though a lot of the other teams that 2-0 are scary, I feel like we can still sort of go toe to toe. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, same question to you guys, Team City Escape. You are 1-1. Anything in particular you're going to practice going forward?
I mean, pretty much I think we got communication down. It's just more like assessing the situation and being able to determine what works for our strengths and weaknesses, I think. Because I know Trojan's really he's better than me in the skills. And so his ability to do certain things and he has more knowledge of the game. Where I'm learning things on the fly, or I'm learning things here and there. But as I've been practicing more and more, I've been noticing a huge improvement in my gameplay as well. And so it's been helping that, with practice as well as communication, but we just have to determine the situation better.
She down talks herself. She's almost essentially an equivalent to me at this point in her execution, in how confident she is most of the time. And I can just confidently say, here, go to this location, and she can just do it no problem. And that's a very large, kudos to her. And I think that's because of that, we've really routed the seed very well, and we just got to continue just doing that type of routing. I was personally, I don't know, speak for her, but I was really happy with the way we routed that whole seed.
Well, I hope you enjoy it if and when you guys watch it back. For what it's worth, I thought you guys all routed well. I mean, that final escape was just extremely mean to everyone, but otherwise, I thought you all did great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Indeed. Well, thank you all so much for joining us, and also for the show that you put on. GG to Team Heck going up to 2-0. GG to Rue and Trojan for a valiant performance, and I'm looking forward to seeing all your upcoming matches. For now, that is actually it for us for tonight. We've gotten through all the randomizer matches for Saturday, which means we've got more on Sunday. So starting tomorrow afternoon, 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, we will be having a doubles match between Infinity Death Gauntlet, the team of Dr. Tuin and Halcyon, versus Slurp Squad, the team of Moose, SR, and Galaxy. And if you watched those two do their singles matches, I believe both today, possibly Moose was yesterday, I forget, they are really impressive and will definitely show you something. So tune in for that. Channel yet to be assigned, but make sure to go to speedgaming.org/Ori and you'll find out which channel that's going to be on. In the meantime, thank you very much to Kyrfell and Meldon for tracking for us today, and to Smashy for restreaming. And Grim, thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure again.
Yeah, dude, it's fun stuff.
You wanna play us off?
I suppose. Yeah. Thank you for watching, everyone. The Ori matches, we had like 9 of them today. We have 5 of them tomorrow, and this is only week 2 of Swiss. So if you enjoy Ori Rando, you get to see a lot more of it, and if you don't, tough, because we're gonna just be populating a bunch of the speed gaming channels, and there's nothing you can do about it. So have a good night, everyone. Is that a good closing?
I like it, dude. I like it a lot. Good night, everyone.